Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Chairman, I find it a little troubling that during this entire hearing, you haven't thanked Gary Gensler for setting such a low bar for competence. So thank you for doing this job. And I think anybody who watched the Biden years saw an SEC that was actually a completely rogue agency. So thank you for bringing credibility back to the agency. And thank you for your team for working so hard to make that happen. You were way in the ditch when it came to credibility. And what you've done just in your short term has made a remarkable difference. Let's talk about just some fundamental issues. I think we can lay this out the right way. How do you see the role of your team, you and your team, in terms of functioning? Do you view yourselves as enforcing law, or do you view yourselves as somebody who creates laws through enforcement?
No, we should be enforcing the law, and we shouldn't be regulating through enforcement.
And so, springing right back into the crypto world, the reality is this is not new technology. I mean, my son introduced me to the crypto world when he was 14 years old. He's now 28. It was a long time ago. And the Congress has failed miserably in creating laws to give you the proper guardrails to say this is allowed and this is not allowed. How important is it for us to finally get this done, to actually give you a regulatory framework that allows you to decide how to enforce laws and keep bad actors out and make certain that good actors are given the room they need to develop and innovate here in America?
Oh, well, thank you, Senator. Listen, so we do need, I believe, a good law coming out of Congress and to be enacted that would undergird our efforts. The SEC has pretty broad authority to interpret and to have exemptions under the various securities laws. And so that, I think, has been the missing link here, frankly, over the last years, where the SEC has not made really any attempt to accommodate this technology. And so that's created such a gap between the possible and the what people were actually able to achieve, because the SEC was just had I compare it first to the ostrich with a head in the sand, and then secondly the regulation through enforcement views, saying you can interpret the securities laws as well as we can, but then going after people with the enforcement division. I think that's not the way for a regulator to operate. A regulator should perceive what the questions are in the industry and then address those. And we have many tools to do it: notice and comment rulemaking, roundtables, all sorts of things like that is the way a competent regulator should be working.
Yeah, so when you hear the exchange about less enforcement actions as necessarily a bad thing, the reality is, again, not to beat this to death, but for those who suffered through Gary Gensler's reign of terror, he wasn't an ostrich. He was a man-eating, absolute devastating lion. So the enforcement actions were basically, again, enforcement, regulation through enforcement. So you had just completely arbitrary, capricious views of what should happen, and what you're doing is following the law. So I just urge my colleagues to let's get this bill across the finish line. The staff has spent literally thousands of hours getting this done, and I think it's long overdue. Let me just ask you one question about something that a lot of people, including myself, although no longer in this space, because I divested myself of all digital currencies, by the way, at a low number. But what do you think about self-custody? Tell me how you view that from your perspective. Should I be able to be a custodian of my own digital assets if I ever were to get back in that space?
Yes, I believe so. I mean, I think that your right over your property should determine where it should be held, and then the differences, perhaps in trading, we have to make sure that that things don't become balkanized, that we don't have liquidity that's atomized. But for the national market system to work and to provide the engine that we have currently, we'll have to accommodate all sorts of different ways of doing business.
Thank you. And thank you for being in this role. Thank you for rebuilding the credibility of the SEC. It's very, very needed.